I'm Eden. I'm a full-time wedding photographer, and I went full-time last year in July, so I've been full-time as a wedding photographer for a year and a half now, and I want to tell you about how I got here and what this first year being full-time self-employed has felt like. Firstly, the jump between 2023 to 2024 has been pretty crazy. Just on a logistics number standpoint, I shot 13 weddings last year and 17 this year. Plus last year, a whole lot of second shooting still. This year, I only had my own lead weddings, and I took on second shooting, I think, twice, just for fun for my friends. So that's wildly different. The amount I had to shoot was way less this year. I only had 10 engagement sessions and a few family sessions that were casual fun, half for my own family. Versus last year, I was still taking on a lot more of everything. This makes me so nervous to do. Let's continue. As for how I got here, that is a great question. I was always a creative kid. I played music for a lot of my life, from like 10 until I graduated. I played violin, played a couple other instruments. I tried ballet, I tried painting, I tried drawing, literally anything I could get my hands on that was creative, I tried. Did not master it, but I did try to. I also planned to be a writer for a very long time. I started probably like 20 different books, never finished any of them because I would just get inspired to write one scene or like the ending or like something dramatic, but I would never piece together all the parts. I even tried writing a book with a couple of my friends that got a little bit farther, but every project that I started, I was super into, to the point where I would like fill up a notebook about it or my thoughts on it. I still have some of my notebooks from high school, and I'm not sure what I was thinking. Like, I have one where I started trying to learn Egyptian hieroglyphics. I have one where I tried to learn Norse runes. I have one from when I was really into architecture and learned all the different types of pillars. I have one from trying to learn cinematography and like all the director's terms, and I wrote it down and I like colored it in and like shaded it in, and like anything I've ever done, for the most part, I do 100% effort. Now, because it's 100% effort, that sometimes means that I can only do it for like 2 days before I burn myself out, but I will always give it my all. That's pretty much how I became a wedding photographer, to be honest with you. My mom had a camera growing up, and she would always take photos of us, and I never really paid attention to it. I always liked looking through the family photo albums, especially my own, of course. And I love the candid little moments that our parents captured for us. They mean so much, and I always loved flipping through those pages, but I never caught on to photography as a passion until I was 17 or 18. And that's when I started playing with my mom's camera with my little sister in the backyard. I would like get out the colander. It was, what year was this? This would have been like 2017 or 2018 before I graduated. So very those vibes, very much like did not know what I wanted to edit, like basically didn't edit, tried to make things like purple and blue so they looked like visco vibes apparently, and mostly just played around with my little sister in the backyard. I don't truly remember the moment that I decided that I wanted it to be my job, but apparently that moment happened because here I am now. By the time I was 18, I believe, I second shot a wedding for the first time. The photographer thankfully was a family friend, but she asked me if I knew manual camera settings, and I said that I did, and I did not know I was lying. I truly thought that I did know manual camera settings. I did not, so I had to go home and Google and learn them real quick. So that was my first experience second shooting. That's when I was 18. The month before my 19th birthday is when I started second shooting for another photographer here in Columbus who did photo and video. So I was supposed to second shoot video for her. And I just found that job through the Columbus Community Creatives job group because I had been reaching out to photographers for a year at that point, asking to second shoot or shadow for free, basically shooting as much as I could of like small family sessions and things like that. But I, at the time, was also working at a florist. I had just started there. Before that, I worked at Shake Shack. Then around the same time that I was about to turn 19, I believe, I also switched jobs and started working at a florist because I wanted more experience in the wedding industry. So I am really glad that I did that because I did get to see another side of being a wedding vendor. So I started second shooting for the one lady's company That was a great experience. I actually only really stopped second shooting for them in 2024, so I've worked with them for 2 or 3 years now, but it was a really great experience because I got to learn how to shoot video as well as second shooting photo. So I learned a lot of settings on the job. In her job listing, she specifically said, like, we will teach you, you don't have to know everything. So I was not volunteering for something I was not qualified for. So I did learn a lot from her. I asked a lot of questions, but I've never wanted to be the type of person who needs to ask questions. I would rather go down a Google rabbit hole for hours than actually ask someone who knows the question right there, because then I feel embarrassed, which I know is super common. Nobody wants to ask questions. Nobody wants to feel stupid or feel like they don't know. But sometimes you just have to because you don't know. And it's so much quicker to learn from somebody who's more experienced than you. While working for her, I also realized what type of photography I liked. Because I was second shooting video and that was my main job under her company, I would bring along my own camera, and I shot Canon at the time. I would bring along my own camera and shoot photos at the same time. And sometimes she wanted them, sometimes she didn't. Also, if you're a second shooter, please try not to overshoot, because I used to overshoot so much for her. And now that I have my own second shooters who work for me sometimes, I understand why you do not want 3,000 photos from your second shooter. All fair, all good, no hard feelings, but I do feel bad about that I gave her so many photos to call through when now I know what it's like to have to call through all 5,000 photos that someone took. Anyways, while I was on that job, I realized that I really, really liked the candid documentary moments that happen in between the traditional posing of shots, because this photographer is a little bit more traditional style, and even just being observant and not having to be the one posing, but being able to watch everything she did was super, super educational for me. And I would notice that all those little moments in between, like for, say, bridesmaid photos or wedding party photos, you'll say, okay, both you look here, cheese smile, blah, blah, blah. But then as soon as you, like, put your camera down is when those two girls or whoever's in the wedding party would, like, hug or interact in their natural organic state. And that's what I really, really liked, and why I realized that I like candid and documentary wedding photography. Which also helps me now because I shoot Super 8 and photo and film photography. So shooting all three comes a little bit more naturally to me because I learned on the job shooting 2 different formats anyway. So from there, in 2021, about a week after I second shot for that lady's company for the first time, is when me and my husband actually went and eloped in Glacier National Park in Montana. Yes, we were very young. We were 19 and 21. I have zero regrets, but you probably should think about it before you get married at 19. So we eloped, destination elopement. It was just us and the photographer and her husband, who was also the officiant. So it was great. We had an amazing experience. It is on my bucket list to go back there and shoot an elopement for a full circle moment for myself. Am I supposed to be looking at the screen or at the lens? It's a lot easier to look at the screen of myself, because then I feel like I'm talking to someone at least. Or am I supposed to stare directly into the lens? This is going to be a lot harder than I thought. Oh no. Hold on. Well, I just realized that I'm supposed to be looking at the lens and not at the viewfinder of myself while I film this. So I apologize if it looks like I'm not looking at you, because I'm looking at myself, because I'm new to this and it's a lot harder being on the other side of the camera. So, to continue my story, we eloped in Montana and we loved it. I want to go back there and shoot an elopement myself because it was super cool. And then I came home and basically second shot the entire rest of 2021. 2022, same thing. I committed to like 30 wedding dates at the start of the year. Second shot a ton. I believe I only had one of my own weddings that I was a lead for that year, and that was a friend from high school's. So, still matters because she still trusted me, but it was a friend from high school. Then we enter 2023. I'm determined not to commit to second shooting like I have in the past year and a half, 2 years, because I want to see how much I can book on my own without needing the financial assistance of second shooting, and because I feel ready to take on my own weddings and be a lead wedding photographer. By this time, I have been at the florist for over a year. I switched my jobs. Well, first, okay. We move, we moved towns around Columbus. I quit the florist because weekends were becoming too hectic. I wanted my weekends to shoot weddings. They wanted me to work weekends. It's all good. So, 2023, we buy a house, we move. I quit the florist. I start working at a coffee shop so that I can work only mornings and have my weekends for photography. It is a much better fit for my schedule. 2023, we're booking weddings, we're booking things. I don't remember. I think by the end of 2022 or the start of 2023, I had 6 to 7 of my weddings for last year already booked. So it just keeps going from there. Some people are last minute. Some people book like 2 months out from their wedding date. But it's all good. It's all fine. I'm happy to have any work. I will say last year was the most tired I've ever been in my life. And I would like to never feel that tired ever again in my life. Because for a rough schedule, I would be getting up at 4 a.m., not every single day, but maybe half the days. I'd get up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym and work out, to then go to the coffee shop to open the coffee shop by 6 a.m., work 6 to 12, come home and work 12 until 10 p.m. or until whenever I needed to edit and to build up my business and, make this a real thing. So I did that pretty much all of 2023 until July. I had said, I don't remember when, maybe the beginning of the year, that when I hit 15K in photography, I would go full time because I also had the coffee shop income. So in July of 2023, I did hit 15K in photography. So I quit the job pretty much immediately as soon as I hit it and kept working. And it was quite a wild feeling to go from having 2 jobs in a schedule like that to only having 1 job and being my own boss. So that was a whole thing. It's like, even though I was busy enough and there's always something to do when you own your own business, I felt like I was not busy enough or not doing enough because I wasn't being burned out, which is not healthy and you should not treat yourself that way. That was 2023. I ended the year having shot 13 weddings. I don't remember how many sessions or anything else, and I still did second shoot probably like 20 weddings. I don't know. This is the first year in 2024 that I haven't averaged 30 weddings per year with second shooting and my own weddings combined. And that was 2023. And I set my goals for 2024. I have not reached all of them, but I also set some silly goals that I did not actually need to accomplish. One that I would still really like to accomplish, though, is to book an international wedding or just work internationally, because the only time I've worked internationally is when I asked some strangers at the Cliffs of Moher to model for me for a second, and they did, and they left me a very nice review. But I would like to actually book a wedding internationally or just book more travel weddings in general. So 2024 rolls around. I've already told myself I'm not committing to any second shooting until the end of April, which is pretty much busy season. However, by April, I'm already having pretty solid bookings. To be honest with you, this year was kind of a blur because it went by very fast, and I do feel like I worked pretty constantly and did not take much time off. One thing that I want to be better at as a business owner in 2025 is to give myself at least 1 day off a week and to pay myself, because, funny fact, anything my business makes kind of stays in my business, and I don't really pay myself or take any days off, which is not good for my mental state, especially not taking any days off. So I would love to at least take off 1 day a week in 2025, like 100% off. I'm not opening my laptop. Don't know if I'll do that, but that is one of my goals. So in 2024, this is the numbers wrapped. I shot 10 engagement sessions, a few casual family sessions, 17 weddings in 13 cities in 6 states on the 64 rolls of film, and I did 7 Super 8 wedding films. Yeah, it's been an amazing first year being a self-employed business owner and a full-time wedding photographer, and I really love it, and I hope that I never have to work 9 to 5 hours again, because I really love being my own boss and being a creative entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it. And it feels very me to be here, and it feels very true to my personality to have a job like this. and to be in charge of my own schedule, because I would say I'm a pretty self-motivated person. Not all the time, obviously, but enough of the time that I can be my own boss. It definitely challenges me with discipline and managing my own time. Anyways, that is why I'm a wedding photographer, how I became a wedding photographer, and how the first year of being a full-time self-employed wedding photographer went for me. And I can't wait to see how next year will go. We already have 14 weddings booked for 2025, one for 2026, and I can't wait to see who else comes along and lets me take photos of them, because I love this job and I really love documenting people's emotional special moments. It means everything and I do not take it lightly, and I'm very happy to be here. See you next time.